Well, one of the things that I'm very aware of is the current trend for outsourcing. And many organizations are outsourcing some different functions. And what I noticed about DHL is they are the recipients of a lot of those outsourcing. You see, I've noticed from some of your media releases that it's an area where the organization is growing, when you're taking on the logistics for various organizations and retail, not just retailers, but a number of different kinds of organizations. So that's attractive in terms of looking for an organization that's going to provide, for me, sustainable employment. I see it as a market that is going to grow, quite frankly. The opportunity for growth there, I think, with the presence that the organization has in so many different countries, I find that frankly quite attractive. So.
Yeah, we're pretty diverse, both geographically and product-wise. And you're right, the outsourcing trend is, we're sort of the beneficiary of that, as you say. The other thing is, in our business, we grow faster than GDP. Transportation, import-export grows faster than GDP. So typically, we tend to be on the upper side of the growth curve. But it's sort of an international business. You got to be willing to sort of move around a lot. You know, we have 500,000 employees, so not all of them get up and move, right? But I think if you are interested in the GROW program, it means you're interested in A, the whole company, B, the international aspect of it. So I think expectation-wise, you should have that. I've moved 9 times in 20 years, so, and I didn't go to the GROW program, but you know, it's an international business. So I think that's really important. What it means to me is if you're interested in this program, it means you're the kind of person that sees this as a company of 500,000 people and not as a company that's based in Plantation. You know, we've got 800 people in Plantation. That's how big the company is for people that don't want to move. There's many people like that. But I would caution you that, and you're spot on, you know, what you see as the opportunities of the company, it does offer that. But it's a bit of a watch out. You know, your first job may be in Germany and it's off to Paris or off to Hong Kong, which for me is great. You know, some people don't like that so much. But, great. Tell me, this is one of these behavioral questions.
Okay.
Tell me about a time when you failed at something. And I'm more interested in how you dealt with it and what the outcome of that was.
Okay. I failed at something. Okay. One of the things that I consider a true failure was I dropped out of high school in 10th grade. I was 16, I was living alone, I was working 2 jobs and 2 jobs in school, just couldn't pull it off. So priority was income, so I dropped out of high school. And what
was your mindset? Were you gonna go back in, or were you like, I'm done, I get a paycheck and this works?
No, in all honesty, I found myself going to school and being very bored at school, number one. I tended to skip Monday through Thursday, go to Friday, take the test, pass it, and annoy the teacher. And then I just found the interactions of the students, you know, they're talking about how much money they spend on shoes or jeans or who's going out with who or who likes who, and I'm thinking about paying my bills. So it was just not the environment for me. I liked learning, but I didn't feel like I was learning there. So I dropped out, and I wrote a letter to a board, and they allowed me to take my GED early. And I took my GED, and I actually started at the community college before my classmates did. But there was a couple months there between that happening, and so.
So you did have an intention to do college.
I wanted to skip 2 years of high school.
And why is that a failure?
Well, because initially at first, I started college, and then it took me a while to actually go back and finish. So if I had I guess a lot of people, high school, when I say, okay, I'm a high school dropout, okay, but now I have a college degree. So, but obtaining that college degree actually took me a lot longer. So if I had stayed in school and then went to college, I'd have probably got finished with college earlier. But to me, it was at the time, it was a major issue for me to be dropping out of high school.
Good. Thank you for that. I'm going to give you another one of these. Tell me about a time when you had a really difficult situation with a boss or a superior, and thinking of something you just didn't like the way something was being done, and you felt you needed to do something about it. Does that sort of ring a bell?
Yes. When, at Best Buy, when I came in to work at Best Buy was actually first coming into the area, and they were opening up seven locations within like a 6-month period or something, okay? And so they sent a lot of managers from Middle America, came from Iowa and Minnesota, down to South Florida with me Florida. And they came in, and I had been working for, I was hired, I was a front-end supervisor managing the cashiers and the service desk, the techs. And I did it for about 6 months, and then the store manager, his name was Curtis Copeland, he asked me to take over the media department, which was all of the music, software, and video games. It was a big part of the
My kids would love you.
Really? Well, it was very challenging because the store was planograms. When they said how much merchandise is supposed to be within that area, they had it planogrammed for a floor size 3 times what it actually was. Because the back of the warehouse, the back of the store was the warehouse for the appliances. Well, somebody didn't tell somebody, and so they had that department, they had it as if that warehouse wasn't back there. So it was a much bigger floor space.
Yeah.
So they were sending just tons and tons of merchandise, and we couldn't get on the floor. And the receiving area was half the size of this room. It was really small. And so it was just dropping in constantly. It was just a mountain of work. The person that they hired to originally manage that, he gave up and he left. So when my manager asked me to take over this department, he told me the employees they've been badly trained, and you would be better off to fire all of them and start over. And so you were talking about a staff of about 15 to 17 people, and he wanted me to just fire them all. And I had a problem with that. Quite frankly, I didn't feel that was fair to the employee. I mean, if they were trained badly, they were products of, I think poor management, right? Fish things from the head down. So I told him that he was so forceful about that. I told him that if that was something that he wanted, if he felt that confident about it, then it was something that absolutely that he had the power to do. But that as a new manager for that department, I asked him to give me 30 days to work with the team and establish performance standards. And if they were not performing to standard, then they would be provided the training that they needed. They would be provided the performance expectation right up front, and then if they were not performing, that I would go through a disciplinary process with them of giving them a warning and a final warning